of the EU-funded Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility. My name is Monica Bucurenciu, and I'm the team leader of the EU-funded project. I wanted to go through some technical details before we start the meeting with the content that we have prepared for you. So you will see that we are offering Russian English interpretations. We have two great interpreters with us today. If you want to listen to the Russian channel, you need to select it from on your screen. You will see it normally on the right hand side, and you can try to do that now to see if that works. I also wanted to remind people that because we are in webinars today and we are not using Zoom meetings, you will not be able, if you are normal attendees and not panelists, you will not be able to use your mics or your video unless you request it from the admin, and you need to do that by raising your virtual hand in Zoom. And then we will give you the floor. We have, as you can see, we have a Q&A section in Zoom. Please do use that for your questions if you can, because it makes it easier for us to really keep track of the questions that are being asked and to make sure that everything is being addressed properly. But of course, having said that, if you do want to take the floor and use your mic, let us know and you will have that opportunity as well. I think everyone received an automatic sort of notification from Zoom on this, but we are recording the meeting today, and we are also live streaming on Facebook. So we started both the live streaming and the recording of the event. Today as you might have seen from the agenda that we were publishing, the aim of the event today is really to tell you about our EU-funded project and the activities that are upcoming. And we will have, well, the whole team is of course today present, and we will take you through the activities that we planned for civil society in the Eastern Partnership region. But before that, I'm really happy to be able to give the floor to David Cullen, who is head of unit at the European Commission DG NEAR, and who managed to join us today, and we are really grateful for that, considering that this is one day before the Eastern Partnership Summit takes place in Brussels. So it's an extremely busy and intense period for those at the European Commission working on the Eastern Partnership. I hope you can, so David, if I could pass the floor to you.
Monica, thank you so much, and thank you for organizing this event. And I'm delighted to be here. It is incredibly busy at the moment, but it's busy in a good way. And what a sign and signal as well to send by having this launch event on the eve of the Eastern Partnership Summit. We've been working very hard with all of our stakeholders over the past few months and past few weeks. We've had think tank events, we've had civil society fora. It just demonstrates and reflects the importance that we attach to our engagement with civil society in the context of the Eastern Partnership. And so this launch event is very much important and relevant in that context. You've mentioned the summit, which is taking place tomorrow. It's the sixth partnership summit, and I think it's already an achievement that it is taking place in what is a challenging context. I don't need to explain to you why it is challenging, not least because of the pandemic which prevails and continues, and and deepens and just doesn't go away. So it's a really important time, and I'm just I cross my fingers that we will have a successful summit tomorrow, and that we will also have a summit declaration, and work on that continues intensely. Now, since the last summit, obviously an awful lot has happened. I'm not going to go through what has happened, but I would just mention Belarus, which will not be physically present at the summit. There will be an empty chair for the people of Belarus, and we've had a number of events and meetings in the margins with Belarusian civil society and opposition, and we will continue to cooperate with the people of Belarus. Not only will we continue to cooperate, we will increase our support considerably, and our president has just announced a package of 30 million for the people of Belarus, for civil society support, to a number of activities, including education and culture activities. So that is particularly important. Now, the long-term objectives of the partnership beyond 2020 emphasize recovery, resilience, and reform, the 3 Rs, and the key building blocks of the future agenda will be developing resilient, sustainable, and integrated economies, ensuring accountable institutions, rule of law and security, developing environmental and climate resilience, which is increasingly important, delivering on a resilient digital transformation, and creating resilient, gender equal, fair and inclusive societies. And it goes without saying that civil society play a crucial role in achieving all of these objectives, frankly. And this is reflected in our recent joint staff working document, which we issued over the summer. Now, more than ever, the EU is striving to engage with smaller civil society organizations to promote inclusive democratic reform and public accountability, thus better serving local communities. And EU outreach to grassroots organizations will double to reach over 2,500, including those operating outside of the main urban areas, are also in conflict affected regions. And we will continue to further develop strategic partnership with CSOs, enhancing re-granting to local organizations and engaging with social partners such as trade unions, employers, organizations, and so forth. We also will award at least 200 civil society fellowships to strengthen civic activist capacity to engage constructively with communities and authorities. So the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility is one important element of our civil society support to partner countries, and it will not only include the Eastern Partnership Fellowship Program, but many other innovative actions, which I'm sure you will go through. And this facility aims at enabling civil society organizations to act through participation, problem solving, and innovative means to serve their communities. So our future support to civil society is not only about more funding and more outreach, but also about a more meaningful and relevant engagement with civil society. So while we strive to better assess the impact of our support, we also understand that sometimes it's not possible to clearly envisage the outcomes of activism. And in difficult times, supporting civil society can feel like a hope in the dark, and without that hope, democratic and inclusive societies cannot become a full and mature reality. So let me wish you a very good meeting ahead. This is the first learning occasion about what the facility will be offering in terms of events, competitions, and other relevant support. And I'm looking forward to all of that. I would also like to thank Yvonne who is on the line for all her excellent work and support in guiding this process. Thank you very much. And back to you, Monica.
Thank you so much, David. And I think the message is very, let's say, encouraging for civil society. And we have with us today civil society representatives from Belarus as well, including our local partners. And I think it's really encouraging to hear that support to civil society from Belarus and in Belarus will continue. I don't see any questions. Please, if I would like to invite the attendees, if they have any questions for David, to let us know. I don't see any raised hands for the moment or any questions in the Q&A. Okay, if that's not the case, then we can start presenting in more detail what the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility will have on offer. And I wanted to start by also welcoming and kind of introducing everyone to our local partners who are present. So I wanted to start by mentioning that our EU-funded project is implemented by GDSI, and we have Olga Kennelly, who is our project director, with us today, of course. But we also have our consortium also includes Alter Assessores from Spain, and we have our local partners from Belarus, the Office for European Expertise and Communications, and I've seen they are present, and I just want to extend my greetings to them. We also have our partners from Georgia with us today, the Innovative Education Foundation, as well as the Institute for European Policies and Reforms from Moldova, and the Center for Innovations Development from Ukraine. So, and of course, as I was already saying, all of the core team implementing the project. Well, I saw in the list of attendees, of course, a lot of familiar names, but there are some new names that I'm happy to see, and I wanted to start today's presentation really with just an overview of the project before we go into the details of each activity area. Our objective as an EU-funded project is to strengthen the role and increase the capacity of civil society organizations and activists in the 6 Eastern Partnership regions, in the countries. And this phase of the project, so this is not, it's not the first phase of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility. The previous phase ended in March this year, and in June, at the end of June, we started the current phase, which will last until December 2024, and we'll have a budget of 3.69 million. But what exactly we will be doing? We will have a series of capacity building activities, and for those who know our previous phase, I wanted to mention that our approach will change, because we will not be focusing that much on producing, let's say, courses and trainings from scratch, but rather work with identifying existing materials and working with partners who are producing already very good capacity building materials and activities. And Simon Forrester, who is our capacity building expert, will be giving you all of the details for that. David was mentioning the Civil Society Fellowships. Obviously, these are very important. They are an important part of our project, and that was the case in the previous phase as well. There are some novelties related to the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Fellowships. We will have 2 types of fellowships for the first time. We'll have the Community Engagement Fellowships and the Civic Digital Fellowships. And Simon and Irina Velska, who is our expert on Civic Digital Fellowships and Hackathons, will tell you all about that. And we launched the call for the fellowship program. So that's, I think, very timely, and it's an important topic to discuss in more detail. We will continue organizing annual hackathons for civil society and working with the civic tech communities of the Eastern Partnership countries. We always believed in this innovative aspect of working with civil society, and think it yielded quite some interesting results in the previous phase, and we hope it will do the same in this phase. We will also be supporting civil society networking and different regional initiatives of civil society. And we have an important activity area on communication campaigns, and we will be working on improving the public image of civil society in some of the Eastern Partnership countries. And lastly, although we will not be discussing this too much today, we are, as a project, aiming to contribute to the EU's better understanding of civil society in the region. And in this context, we are producing different mappings, analyses, and studies at the request of either the EU delegations or DGNIR headquarters. So this is our project in brief. That's what we will be doing in the coming years. But as I was saying today, we will focus on those things that we think are more relevant and more important at the moment. And this will be mostly about the capacity building activities, the fellowships, and the hackathons, and to a lesser extent about the other activity areas. Okay, having said this, I would like to pass the floor to Simon, who will be telling you all about the capacity building activities we have.
Great, thank you very much, Monica. Good day to everyone. As Monica introduced, I want to talk for a little bit, take me about 20 minutes or so to explain the capacity building activities, and then to move on to the fellowship program in a bit more detail. Before going through the capacity building activities, I thought it was worthwhile just to explain a little bit about how did we design these activities, how do we make the decisions. Of course, all of the capacity building is within the framework of the wider objectives of the Eastern Partnership and our particular project objectives. But we did spend quite considerable time during the summer and the autumn consulting with civil society across the region. We had about 257 responses to an online survey that we ran, and we had more than 50 interviews with different organizations across the region. So we felt that we were getting quite a lot of information to help us understand better the needs in the region, and this has helped us to fine-tune the activities and make some kind of decisions about what the priority needs were. And this told us that the survey particularly told us that civil society organizations felt that their capacities around digitalization were quite weak. They also wanted to build up more their skills and knowledge around how to engage in policy dialogue and policy development, and to act as watchdogs in monitoring public expenditure. And there was the understanding of some weakness in being able to monitor and evaluate and measure impact. Through the consultations, there was also some other areas which were kind of pointed out to us that we might want to address, and that is to help strengthen more the outreach and the communication work of civil society, and it's how it markets itself to society. To build more skills for research and analysis, and to assist civil society to understand how it can contribute to the Green Deal. This was something that also came out strongly through the consultations. So this information helped us to kind of shape what we wanted to deliver over the next 3 years, but it also informed our approach to the capacity building. Monica has already mentioned an important aspect of that is that we want to try to build on what already exists in terms of learning and training content. We know that even before the COVID pandemic, there was a huge amount of digital learning content. And since COVID, this has really multiplied many times. So actually part of our research during the summer and autumn included a mapping of providers of e-learning and training providers, both traditional kind of civil society support organizations, but also looking at other providers such as universities and academic institutions, and also providers in the commercial sector. So we have mapped out a lot of these providers, and as Monica had said, we really want to try to adapt, scale up and promote what already exists in terms of matching the needs that I've just talked about. Also, I wanted to mention that although we will have a lot of capacity building activities which will be open to everyone in civil society in the region, there will be some courses or some activities where there will be a selection process. And when we go through a selection, we will be really looking to identify individuals in civil society who can show themselves as being kind of change makers, or those who are in a position to multiply the benefits of the learning. So that would be an important principle when it comes to selecting individuals for the more selective type of activities that we have. Of course, the activities will largely continue to be online. So our capacity building activities will be dominated by e-learning approaches, but we will have both moderated and self-directed e-learning courses. So moderated e-learning courses will be those where we will have a lead facilitator or trainer who will be involved in delivering the courses. The self-directed e-learning is those where you can sign up and join a course at any time that you like and self-direct yourself through the course. But in addition to those online courses, we will also have available some coaching and mentoring. So there will be some participants who will be able to apply to get individual help to support them through those learning courses, for example, to work on particular individual assignments related to those courses. We will, of course, be offering webinars and shorter video tutorials. And we also want to pilot something innovative, and that is to have an e-voucher system. We're piloting this because from our mapping exercise, we understood that there are quite a few training providers who, of course, have a kind of cost recovery mechanism. So they want to charge a one-off fee to join an online course or ask people to sign up to a subscription. And we noticed that there is one or two providers which have high quality services. So we thought that we would try to negotiate with them that we will be able to provide some e-vouchers on a pilot basis to see if individuals want to apply for e-vouchers, and if they meet the requirements, then we will provide those vouchers and they can try out the services from those providers. So that's something we want to pilot. We'll see how it goes. And of course, the fellowships are themselves an important part of the capacity building activities, and we'll be hearing much more about that in a while. Just to give a bit more detail for the coming year, 2022, these are the courses and the e-learning that we have planned for 2022. There will be a storytelling self-directed course in the spring, where we will also be offering some individual coaching. In the summer, we want to identify a smaller group of more advanced practitioners in the region to join an impact analysis and outcome mapping course. And in the autumn, we want to run a digital competencies course. Both the digital competencies and the storytelling courses actually will be adaptations of courses which this project had actually developed in previous phases. We also are working with providers in the region to adapt and then make available as video tutorials a couple of other type of courses, one around project management and one on partnership development. And the details on those, they'll be released as we have got those firmed up later in the year. We will make those available online. And lastly, we will also run 2 series of webinars next year. There'll be a series of webinars where we will bring together panels of practitioners and experts who can talk on the subjects. The first series of webinars is around civil society and the Green Deal. And the second series is innovations in fundraising. And that will be in the autumn. So that's our plan for 2022 for the capacity building activities. And of course, we will be developing a similar plan for 2023 and then for 2024. So for each year, there'll be a similar mixture of capacity building activities.
Simon, we have a question in the Q&A on the capacity building specifically. So maybe we take that one and then we move to the Civil Society Fellowships. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, I was just picking up on the
Okay.
question. The question
so
is.
I think we need to read it out because only panelists will see it.
Yeah, the question. Thank you very much for the question. Someone's asking who will conduct these e-learning courses and where will they be available. They will be conducted by a range of different practitioners and experts. We are hoping to make partnerships, as I've mentioned, with existing providers in the region and outside the region. So those partners that we work with will provide experts to deliver the courses. Some of them will be pre-recorded. So as I said, they will be self-directed. So they'll just be like a series of video tutorials. But others will be moderated, which means there will be interaction with the trainers. The trainers will also come from a wide range of backgrounds, and it will include practitioners, experts who are outside of the region. For example, there is a Dutch organization called MDF Consulting who are renowned globally for their training provision for civil society, and they're particularly good on monitoring and evaluation impact analysis. So we would expect experts from MDF to help us with that. But then there's a whole range of providers in the region, and we will work with those providers to identify particular experts to lead the courses. Through our usual kind of social media and our website, we will of course make available the details of each course as and when they're released. So in terms of the courses which are will be restricted to a closed group, there will be a selection process. And that also includes those who want to receive individual coaching or mentoring. That will also be done on a selective basis. So the details about how you can apply and how you will be selected, we'll publish those details throughout the year as the courses are released. Some of the courses we will promote, and they will be online as self-directed courses, so anyone will be able to sign up for them. If you have more questions on the capacity building activities, things that come to mind, then please put them in the Q&A, and we'll deal with them as we go. If there's no more at the moment, then I'll move on to the fellowships, the Civil Society Fellowships, which we've already started to hear about. think many of you already know what the fellowships are, but for those who are less familiar, let me just explain what the fellowships are. We're able to support civil society, individual civil society activists or civically minded women and men who can really demonstrate that they want to lead change in their communities. So this is really a program to identify civic leaders and those who will really make a difference in the region in the coming years. And through the fellowship, we're able to support those individual fellows to implement small fellowship projects, and to help them to do that, we provide a small amount of financial assistance. There's approximately 5,000 euros available to support those individual fellowship projects. But equally importantly, the fellows are supported with training and coaching, and of course networking. So the fellows are able to build up solidarity and support between themselves and with others. And so the networking amongst the fellows is an important part of the program. As Monica had said, there are a few little changes in this new phase. One of the big changes is that the program is being expanded. So we're really looking to identify more fellows in the coming years. So on average, we hope that we can identify 40 new fellows every year. Previously, the fellowships had an age restriction, so it's to identify younger people for the fellowships. Now there is no age restriction apart from the need to be more than 18 years old. So this means that the fellowship program opens up really opened up to all the talent in civil society and the tech community to apply for fellowships, and also we will continue to kind of work closely with some of the other similar EU supported schemes like the European Young Ambassadors scheme, because there are some individuals who want to move from one scheme to another, and this also offers the opportunity for that. Another change, as you've also heard about, is that we now have 2 different types of fellowship, and I will be saying a bit more about that in a few minutes, and Irina also will add later on. But the other change is that we have introduced a 2-stage application process. This means that those who are interested to apply for a fellowship will need to firstly draft a concept note, a concept for their fellowship, which they will submit to us online. If the concept note meets the selection criteria, those individuals will then be invited to develop a full application. And while they are developing their full application, and they will be in what we're referring to as the incubation period. And this is where the applicants will be able to get some support from our team to help them to develop their ideas. This is shown to be really important, both in the previous fellowship programs that we've run, but also from other fellowship like programs, is that individuals often have some brilliant ideas for how they want to change things in their community, but aren't always aware exactly of how they might formulate it within a fellowship. So the incubation period offers the opportunity for individuals to get a little bit more support and to brainstorm more around how they can actually implement their fellowship project. So that will be the incubation period. And applicants develop their full application, which are submitted, and then go through the usual selection procedure. And then hopefully those who accepted will be awarded to conduct their fellowship. We also want to avoid having just one opportunity every year. So the fellowship program, there will be 2 calls per year. And we will try to assess the concept notes on a rolling basis, which means that we will try to increase the speed at which we're able to give feedback to the applicants throughout the year. So Yeah, that's the general background to the fellowships. Now, these two different types, the community engagement and the civic digital fellowships, it's important, I think, to explain a little bit more about what these two different fellowships are. I have to say that there is no quota for either fellowship, so we are treating applications to both types of fellowship in an absolutely equal way. You can only apply for one type of fellowship, but the applications will be received all at the same time. The community engagement fellowships are more or less a continuation of how the fellowship schemes were run previously. With these community engagement fellowships, we're wanting to identify fellows who have good ideas to contribute to policy making, whether that's policy making at the local level or at the national level, and to contribute to the policy cycle. That might involve doing research or collecting local evidence as part of your fellowships. But there may also be fellows interested to contribute to the policy dialogue by monitoring public administration, implementation, and expenditure. But the community engagement fellowships also offers opportunity to potential or existing leaders in civil society to take some leadership in terms of capacity development of civil society. So there are opportunities there for fellows to perhaps develop their own training courses that they want to deliver to support civil society in their community. It may be to help civil society to become more accountable and to be better linked to their constituents. Or there might also be fellows who are interested to support the strengthening of cooperation between civil society organizations. So these are the community engagement fellowships. The Civic Digital Fellowships is a great new part of the fellowship schemes, and these new fellowships is an opportunity for activists from the tech community who are interested to work on technical solutions for community needs. But the Civic Digital Fellowships are also opportunity for those who are outside the tech community, but who feel that there should be technical solutions for some of these issues, and it's a great opportunity for them to work with tech experts. So the Civic Digital Fellowships, it might be that they are fellowships which will help to make public data more accessible and to improve the quality of that data, for example, through making public data machine readable. It might be that there are tech solutions which will help citizens better hold government to account. There might be fellows who are interested to expand or further develop some existing technical solutions. But it might be that there are also civic digital fellows who want to contribute to advocating, to run campaigns to advocate for more open data and better access for civil society to data. So there's lots of new opportunities here within the Civic Digital Fellowships, and these fellowships, this part of our program has very close synergies with some other civic tech activities that we have in the program. And in a short while, Irina will be able to talk to us more about those other civic tech activities, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk a little bit more about the civic digital fellowships and to maybe to give a few more examples of how they can work. I'm going to kind of come towards the end of my time by just explaining the timeline for our current call for the fellowships and when the future calls will be. As Monica has said, we have indeed already opened the call. 1st of December, the call opened, and right at the end of our launch presentation today, we're going to give you the information about how you can join the information session webinar that we will have about the fellowships on Thursday this week, on the 16th of December. So for those of you who have a personal interest or who want to share it among your networks, stay with us until the end of our launch presentation, because we're going to give you more information about that. But basically here, as you can see from the slide details, we're going to close the call on the 17th of January, and thereafter there will be the incubation period, and we will work with those who've submitted their concept notes to help them develop their full applications. And then the full application will be assessed, and we hope that by the middle of March we'll be able to award what will be called the 2021 fellows, and that from March, April onwards, those fellows will be able to implement their fellowships. And then here you can just see the timings of the future calls. As I said, we're going to have 2 calls a year, so there's plenty of opportunity here for people to make their applications. And because we have a two-stage process, we really hope that we can help individuals to really strengthen their applications, to work on their ideas that they have. I'm just about coming to an end, but I noticed there is one question in the chat asking about whether it's possible to participate in both of the types of fellowship. At the moment, because we're limited in resources, we do have to limit people to only 1 fellowship. So you can only apply for 1 fellowship, and you can only be awarded for one fellowship. And once you've had 1 fellowship, you can't apply for another one. So those who in the last 4 years have been fellows can't apply again, I'm afraid. But if you have questions about, you're not clear what type of fellowship you should apply for, we can help you to make that decision. And indeed, the session that we will have later this week on Thursday should help you with that. So there'll be more information about that webinar later on. So I think I've kind of come to the end. So if there's any more questions on the fellowships, I'm happy to answer them now. If you want to keep them for later on, we can talk about it towards the end of our launch presentation. Irina, I think it's over to you.
Hi, I'm sorry. Sorry for the technical delay. Thank you, Simon, for the introduction. Yes, you're right. The floor is on me, and I will logically continue. Okay, so maybe I will, before we continue, I will answer. I see there is another question in the Q&A. Is there a country quota for the fellowships? I can actually take this question because there is no country quota for the fellowships. It was a very easy one. We try to get the regional balance for within all our activities. We try to be fair in supporting activists from all the countries in an even way, but there is never a country quota. Okay, there is one more question, Simon, to you. Are there any opportunities to participate in capacity building activities for organizations from outside of EaP area, but which work in the area?
I mean, our principle is that our capacity building is for activists, civil society within the region. And we know that for some reason, citizens of those countries in the region sometimes have to be outside of the region. But as a principle, we're looking to support organizations and activists who are in the region and who are citizens of the region. I mean, that's our general principle. I don't know if that really helps to answer the question. Monica might also want to make a comment on how we distribute our resources and why we make those kinds of decisions.
Indeed, it's you're perfectly right, Simon. This is our mandate as an EU-funded project. However, having said this, there might be certain exceptions, for example, for certain networking events or other regional initiatives where civil society organizations from the EU member states, but who work with and for civil society in the Eastern Partnership countries might be able to attend. But it's let's say it's quite an exception for us. Our mandate is what what Simon was describing.
Okay, I think with this we close the Q&A session for capacity building and the fellowships, but I think there will be something more coming. And okay, let's go proceed to the civil society hackathons. The civil society, the EU EaP Civil Society hackathons within this phase of the project will be also a logical continuation of what we did in the previous phase in 2017-2020. They again will be organized in the form of the hackathon. Our support to civic tech development in the region will be mostly delivered through the hackathon format, which basically means short in time, but very intense in the amount of work and communication and networking. Collaborative events for the civil society activists, designers, and developers from the Eastern Partnership countries. There will be 3 this time annual hackathons, so with the first one coming in 2022, and I'm really excited about this. I'll tell you soon what's our proposed timeline for this. The hackathons are designed to support the development of digital solutions that address several areas. First, they address the needs of the communities. So we kind of a bit expanded this formally also this time, that this digital solutions that help citizens to hold governments to account and will lead to improve the public services. This is what we had from the previous mandate as well. These digital solutions are mostly proposed by civil society activists. And with saying this, I mean that we don't have a specific requirement for any formal affiliation for hackathon participants with any civil society organization. What we ask them is to have a nice idea of how a digital solution can help solving one of the existing challenges in their home countries, the EaP home countries. Yeah, from there on, we can go. We will help you to build the team. In some cases, we will ask you to bring your own team on board, at least some minimum numbers, but in general, we'll help you to build the team because we'll have a separate call for designers and developers who want to participate and contribute. We will help you with our mentors. We have amazing set of mentors, contacts from the previous ones, so we'll get some new ones, people on board, some new faces, and we will work with you through several stages process. So at the end of the day, we hope to support the development and launch of at least 10 digital solutions, which is 2.5 times more than within the previous project. It's going to be lots of work, lots of support, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the guys and working with you again. So every hackathon consists of several stages. We kept this from the previous phases because we think again that some incubation and support from the mentors in terms of shaping the ideas is very important. So we start with as normally with a call for ideas and call for designers and developers. There are 2 separate things going on at the same time. Then we're gonna have our regional ideathons that some of you might remember. For in this phase, we're going to have them only online because we realized that somehow COVID helped us to realize in 2020 that it was a very efficient format where the shortlisted applicants will be working with mentors on shaping up the ideas, and then the mentors will shortlist and select actually the participants, the ideas to participate in the hackathon itself, which we hope, maybe not in 2022, we're very careful about this, but which we hope to have offline, at least starting from the in 2023 completely. In 2022, we hope to have at least in the hybrid format. And the best solutions will go to the, I will get the support through the Digitalization for Civil Society Award. This is a special EU facility established by the project and managed by the project that gives actually this whole funding and works with the winners of the hackathons, helping them to launch the solutions. So what do we have planned for 2022? I know some of you were looking for this. So please remember the dates here are kind of tentative. We're still working on finalizing them because they will mostly depend on the situation in our countries and the restrictions, and we might need to adjust and adapt some of those. But what we want to have is to have the 2022 hackathon in a hybrid format, which means that part of the events will be done online, but we will try to bring back this hackathon spirit that we all missed a lot, and collect and gather the participants at least once for an offline meeting, which we'll do, again, depending on the situation, either country-wise or region-wise, where we bring participants from several countries to the same region. Okay, we plan to shortlist at least 20 ideas for the ideathon, and 15 of them will go to the hackathon. Again, these are our minimum numbers. We might go higher with them. And the difference, because we will still have to stick to the, at least partially, to the online format, we will be expecting applications with ideas from the minimum teams, which means we will be asking the people with ideas for digital solution find at least one person who can technically help them implement. This can be a developer, it can be a designer, or you can have the full team. As always, you're free, but we will try to add some more expertise and skills to you through our call. So these are our this is our timeline. As you see, the most interesting things will start already at the end of February, so stay tuned, stay with us. My colleague Elena will show you where very soon, showing all our channels. If you are not subscribed there, please do this. Okay, next to the hackathons, we will continue working with the civic tech in the region, supporting the civic tech development in the region. And I personally do take this as a personal assignment, maybe as a personal mission, because for me, civic tech goes far beyond just digital solutions. It's not only about development, kind of new digital products. No, it's always building the skills of the people, getting the people understand what's going on, what it is about, how this can be applied, also building the skills of the audience, because what's the point of developing anything if nobody's going to use it? And in this way, we're going to be working on several directions. So first of all, we'll keep and update the bank of ideas. Feel free to go ahead and look at this if you start thinking about the hackathon and you have an idea, because Bank of Ideas is a collection of some of the solutions that were prototyped during the previous hackathons. And yeah, and some of them were winners, some of them were very highly rated. It all depends. The guys are still there working on them and open for communication and cooperation. If you like any of those ideas, please message the team or message us, and we'll get you in touch with the developers if you have any questions, if you want to have any inquiries. Some of those ideas have really ideas published there have already the full prototype. Some are launched. You can go and check how it works. Some of them have really nice live presentations, and the system is behind it, well explained. To give you another reason why it's worth doing this, one of the winners of the hackathons in the previous phase actually took your idea from the Bank of Ideas. So it's okay. It's absolutely fine. You don't need to invent a wheel every time. Sometimes you just need to go and look for good ideas. I'm finishing this part and I go to the Q&A. I see there is a question there. So Civic Tech will always be a part of our capacity building. Simon already mentioned this. It will be always a part of our project events. I don't think we ever had an event without mentioning Civic Tech as a part of this. We will support other organizations in organizing relevant events. Actually, we just closed basically the Data Fest Tbilisi 2021. We supported them. It was a very interesting event and very important for developing of open data, which is like a fundamental thing for developing civic tech in the region. We will enable participation of civil society activists in relevant events organized by other CSOs, not only in Eastern Partnership countries, but also outside. And we will continue cooperating. We hope to continue cooperating with other actors on developing the civic tech. So if you have ideas of civic tech events, please do write to us, write to the team. You can use any of the email addresses you will find on the Facebook or, you know, on our website. Trust me, they're all going to end up in my inbox. Okay, so I go to the Q&A. So we have a question. Or are the existing solutions developed under Creative Commons, or what is the intellectual property rights arrangements? That's a very good question. So we always think that whatever is done with the EU support shall be accessible. In terms of the for the end users of the products, but also for those who might consider this useful. So we ask the participants, the hackathon winners. So we warn the hackathon participants and we ask the hackathon winners to be prepared to share the source code, because I personally believe in open source solutions as one of those, as a way to promote the best changes. As you know, the most secure messengers are those that have open source solutions, because it means that you're open and transparent about what you do and everyone can check it, you know. So this is under the same principle. We developed our own app, YouVote app. Actually, you can also check on the GitHub and download and check it and work with this and amend it. So, but we keep it. So yes, we do ask our hackathon winners to open the code to publish this as an open source code, but they can do it either upon request, open the code upon the request of the civil society activists, or by default by publishing the solutions on one of the platforms. In any case, the hackathon winners keep the intellectual property rights in terms of, you know, as the creators of those solutions. I hope I answered the question. And I don't see any more questions, but with this, I'm ready to pass the floor back to Monica. And if there will be any questions, yeah, we can always take them. Sorry, Monica, I think there is one more. What are the roles of local partners in pre-selection entry and candidates for fellowship ideathons? That's my favorite questions. First of all, we never organize any of the hackathons without our local partners, because it's absolutely impossible. It's a big event. So, and we hope that our local partners continue helping us both on the place, on the spot, and with selecting the ideas. Second, selection process is always the one where we ask local advice, because we can't know what is happening in every Eastern Partnership country. And our local partners are our best resource to go and check if the proposed solution is relevant, if it is feasible, if it is needed by the people at the end of the day. So yes, our local partners are the first source of consulting them, our first resource when we go for searching for mentors. They can suggest it, or they can suggest someone or suggest themselves if it is relevant, and yes, helping us to do it everything on the spot, say nothing on the promotion. Okay, another question. Sorry, Monica, are hackathons different activities? No, yes, they are not related to the fellowship. That was the question. Yes, it's a completely different program, but it is somehow in a way related to the fellowship. So we will try to open the opportunity for the fellowship applicants to join the hackathon. You know, we'll, for instance, successful fellowship applicants who passed the concept note will be invited but couldn't get the, for instance, Civic Digital Fellowship. They will be invited to join the hackathon already at the incubation stage, as well as some of the hackathon participants who went far, you know, for instance, went through the call, selection of the ideas, incubation, and the hackathon, but their idea was not selected, was not voted for, you know, by the participants. We will try to help them to also enter the fellowship process at a bit earlier stage so they can continue working on the idea. It's all voluntarily. We don't push anyone, we just offer opportunities.
Okay, are we okay to move on to the networking
so.
opportunities? Yeah.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. So I wanted to explain a bit the kind of networking opportunities that we will have within the project, because this is one activity area that is also quite important for us, as we need to encourage regional exchanges, in particular within the Eastern Partnership region. So I think I'll start by sorry, I'm controlling your screen, Irina, but of course now that I'm trying to do this, I don't know what's happening with the delay. Okay, what happened there? Maybe then can you just share the presentation on your side and I'll go through the slides, because I'm not sure why this happened. Okay, anyway, in the meantime, I can start telling you about this. So we will have under the capacity development activities that Simon mentioned, there will be networking opportunities within the different courses and the different trainings we will be supporting. And it was the case in the previous phase, and it will remain the case. And I think this kind of networking is quite useful, because it's also a bit more focused on thematic areas. So you have people working more or less in the same areas or engaging with the same subjects that have the opportunity to network. And we had on the previous phase of the project, I think, really nice examples of networking taking place, even remotely within our leadership course for civil society leadership. We have, Irina was giving you a lot of information about the regional ideathon and the hackathons. When we had them face to face, that also provided quite a nice opportunity for exchanges of best practices and cooperation and collaboration more generally. Even the online versions of those events did have that aspect. We have annual events that we organize for the Fellows Alumni Network, and we intend to still keep the fellows from the previous phase, from 2017 to 2020, engaged in our alumni network. We used to have events that were bringing several generations and let's say all of the countries of the Eastern Partnership region together. We will continue having that, either in a hybrid format or online or face-to-face, depending what this is, what the current situation will allow us to have. Elena Palivoda, who is our communication expert, will tell you more about what we are planning in terms of communication campaigns. We will have bilateral campaigns, and we are planning to have within those campaigns also capacity development element, and also a networking element to that. So allowing civil society representatives working on the same issues and let's say trying to improve the image of civil society that the wider public has of civil society, they will be able to network and collaborate. We were, and we have been doing this already in this phase, engaging with Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. Of course, they are one of our important partners, and with the national platforms of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. And we were on several occasions enabling the participation of some of our beneficiaries to the events of the forum. And last but not least, and Irina was mentioning already some of them, we are also supporting other regional events organized by civil society representatives. And I wanted to give some examples of that. So I think, Ira, if you could just go to the next so that we don't mess with the remote control anymore. We started this phase of the project in June, as I was saying, but and we were most of this period in our inception phase very much focusing on stakeholder consultations and putting together the plans for the next years. But we still managed to support some regional initiatives, regional events in parallel to our work for the inception. One of them is the Mejiriya Fest in Ukraine. And this is an event that brings together civil society representatives and independent media. And they are, I think they were this year focusing again on issues of anti-corruption, but also on tech. So there was this element of tech that Irina was saying rightly, that a lot of the events that we support tend to have. Data Fest Tbilisi was already mentioned. The event just took place a week ago. We supported it, or rather the EU through our Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility supported its organization. It's a really nice and kind of engaging event, focusing very much on data, as the name suggests. So it's the biggest data conference in the Caucasus. It brings together practitioners really from a wide range of areas, not only civil society, but also from the for-profit, from businesses and academia. The other events that are mentioned are events that we might potentially support in this phase of the project. The Civic Tech Forum in Ukraine. Unlock is an event organized by the Prague Civil Society Center. It tends to be a very high quality event, again, promoting exchanges between civil society representatives from the region and beyond. It's the same for Camp. And the GlobSec annual forum is a very, very high level event discussing about global trends in general, but where we also have civil society representatives present. And we were supporting the participation of different civil society representatives to the GlobSec annual forum before. We might be able to do it in the future. These are, with the exception of Mejiriya Fest and Data Fest, that already took place. These are just examples. So this is really, we're trying to respond also to the requests we get from civil society and from the European Commission on this. We don't have, I don't want to raise expectations too much. We don't have tremendous resources for this. Most of our resources are dedicated to the fellowship, the hackathons, and the communication campaigns. But as Irina was saying, if you do have if you do have interesting events that you're working on that are covering the whole Eastern Partnership region, and you want to share that with us, please do. There is no guarantee that we will be able to support you, but you never know. It depends very much, of course, on the priorities that we will have and the resources that we will have, and the approval that we will seek from DG NEAR. In terms of the regional events, this is it, and the networking and the networking opportunities. I also wanted to make everyone aware of another opportunity that we launched in November already. We have now a help desk for EU grantees. And this really means civil society organizations who have either a bilateral grant, so working on one specific country, a grant that's managed by one of the delegations, or a regional grant covering the Eastern Partnership region. This help desk we launched in November, and it's really meant to support EU grantees throughout the whole process of the grant project design and management and implementation. We have our senior non-key expert who is behind the help desk with us today. Agustin is here. The main areas that we foresee we will be offering support on are based on also the previous experience we have, but there we are expecting that we will get things on log frames and project indicators, which tend to be quite problematic for civil society organizations, as well as issues related to e-visibility and having a better public outreach. But because of our profile, we were also previously providing and stand ready to do that again, concrete recommendations on how to use digital tools better. It is a world that is increasingly digital. I think it's almost, we all know that by now. There are new tools coming up constantly, and some of them are very useful for the work of civil society. So we can also help you with that aspect. The financial support to third parties that was also mentioned by David at the very beginning of the event today is increasing. So there are more and more grants that have a financial support to third parties component, and we can at least help you with some best practices in that. There aren't that many things set in stone when it comes to FSTPs, but there are best practices out there in civil society, and in fact DGNIR is finalizing now a publication on financial support to third parties, best practices from civil society. And we were supporting DGNIR with that in the previous phase. So, and last but not least, we were and will still be helping grantees with best practices related more generally to participation in policymaking processes or better advocacy and campaigning. If you are implementing a new grant and you need support, please do write to us. We have a dedicated email address. Actually, we should have maybe Elena, if you could, or Agustin, if you could put that email address in the chat for people to have. Yeah, okay, that's great. So yeah, please do reach out to us if you are implementing the new grant. And I think with this, we will conclude also the part on the networking and help desk. And Lena, over to you for the communication part.
Yes, just a second. I'm just sending the email address for the help desk in chat so everyone can see it, and taking the control over the presentation. Okay, so in addition to many activities that already mentioned by my colleagues, in the next 3 years, we will also implement 3 country-specific communication campaigns aiming at raising awareness about the work of civil society organizations and contributing to a positive perception of civil society as actors of change and community mobilizers. The need for such campaign was reconfirmed during the inception phase of our project when we interviewed civil society actors and conducted the survey. Many of the respondents did mention that there is a need for the campaign that would contain some positive messages describing the work of civil society organizations. At the same time, the results of our surveys show that there is still a huge need for additional capacity building on specific skills in communication, starting from the developing communication strategies through storytelling, effective outreach, effective campaigning, social marketing, and digital competencies. So while planning our communication campaigns, we decided to use this hybrid approach, hybrid learning by doing approach, and to combine the training for civil society organization, civil society activists with the outreach actions. So with this approach, civil society representatives will be able to generate and implement communication campaigns with the support of the European Union, benefiting at the same time from the experience of international and local trainers in different sectors of communication. Currently, we are working with the EU delegation on our first campaign, and the first communication campaign will be piloted in Moldova in 2022. The details, the participants for this campaign will be selected through the open call for applications, and we will announce more details on this very soon, January, February 2022. So please keep an eye on our resources to learn more about this part of our activities. And actually, everyone was asking how to reach us, where to find us, and where to learn about our opportunities. So here is the list of all resources where we publish information about our activities, our calls for applications, our opportunities. Please follow our website. We also have the newsletter, so if you subscribe, we do share with all our subscribers the key events, the key opportunities, the key calls for participation. Also, you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. All these links are available here and also on our website. And the last but not the least, Monica.
Thank you, Lana. Simon was already mentioning this. There's a bit of a teaser when he was talking about the capacity building and the fellowships. On Thursday, we have our fellowship information webinar. And I would really like to invite everyone who is interested to apply for this fellowship call to attend the webinar. We will be, I think, explaining quite a lot of the things that you might be wondering about. So some of the rules for the fellowship program, as you heard, changed. We have 2 types of fellowships now. The age restriction is no longer there. We have new guidelines. So there is a lot. Even if you applied previously, I would still strongly encourage you to attend. And we are collecting also questions from applicants. We received a number of questions already, and we will be addressing those questions during the webinar, as well as hearing from some of our previous fellows who are now our fellowship liaisons about what the fellowship meant for them, and provide you with some tips and tricks on how to prepare a good application. So please do join us. Emilia is asking if we will record the webinar on Thursday. Yes, we will, and we will make that recording available, but nothing compares to being there live and asking your questions. So if the time works for you, do join us. Yeah, maybe, well, actually, that just to mention that again, Simon was mentioning this, for the first time we are assessing the applications we receive as they come. So if you are thinking about applying to the fellowship program, the best thing you can do is attend the information webinar on Thursday and then apply as soon as you can after you have your questions answered. And you can use the QR code. It will take you, and thank you, Irina, for generating that. It always makes it look nicer. So you can use the QR code on the screen to register for the webinar. If you have any other questions or any other comments, please let us know. Thank you, everyone. There are some messages in the chat. Thank you for staying with us. I really hope you found the discussion useful and interesting, and we hope to be able to work with you or have you as our beneficiaries in the coming years. And I just wanted to thank once again David and Yvonne for being with us today on this very busy day for them, as well as all of our local partners. We are really looking forward to working together. And thank you very much to the team who is always very passionate about the project activities we have and very keen to present our plans. I don't know if anyone else wants to take the floor from the panelists. Please go ahead. And thank you to the interpreters for making all of this possible. I know that we tend to talk a lot and fast, so thank you to Valeria and to Aliona for being with us. And Vladimir for the technical support. I think nobody intends to take the floor. So with this, I just wanted to say that we will be sharing the recording of today's meeting as well, in case you missed part of it. Thank you. Have a nice day further.